That rocked my world because I had it completely backwards, and I was convinced. I almost didn't agree with you for a while, but started.
So sorry to hear that. Your naivety. No, I'm just kidding.
But after further reflection and just reading about it more and just realizing, oh no, I had this way wrong. I never talked to her about it. Something I just never came up, and I just started to try and implement how I was a husband to her to better reflect that. And I tried to act on that and put her before them. And I just tried to do it to see, like, okay, I'm just gonna shift gears here, and hopefully that'll improve things. Hope maybe she'll notice.
What does that look like? What does it look like when the kids are more important than the spouse?
I mean, for me, what I was doing before is I would.
Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. I'm Jim Ramos, your guide and host of Spotify's #1 podcast for Christian men, guiding you through the stress bubble of life and beyond. Guys, twice a month we drop what we call an Average Joe conversation, and this is one of those episodes, but make no mistake about it. These guys that we have on the show are not average by any stretch of the means. They are just local guys that I'm doing life with, and today I've got my good friend Matt Johnson here. Matt is 34 years old. He is one of the table leaders on our Wednesday night service. We have about 50 guys show up every Wednesday night for a service where I preach and we do a Bible study. He is one of those leaders. Matt and I go way back. Matt was in my youth group way back when, and you graduated when, 2009?
2009.
2009, married a beautiful wife of 12 years, Shelby, 4 beautiful kids. Man, he is in the bubble, guys, in the stress bubble, and he is crushing it. So, Matt, it's great to have you hanging out with me today, man.
Oh, it's awesome to be here, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. So you were in youth group at this church when I was the youth pastor it's coming on 20 years.
Pretty close,
I mean, 2009.
Yeah.
We're in 2025, so we're at solid 15.
Yeah, at least. Pretty wild.
So what's been going on in your life, man? Talk to me.
Well, biggest revelation that I've kind of come to in the last few years with everything that Men in the Arena has contributed is just the relationship with my wife and where that needs to be. And the big thing that has been on my mind was, where does she rank on the hierarchy, if you will? So, I mean, obviously God needs to come first in my life. And for the longest time, I thought that when I had kids, that they were my top priority, and that I needed to focus on raising them up properly and raise them up to be good Christian, godly kids and grown-ups. And then she came after that. And it wasn't really until I started coming to the mag and hearing the messages, and then it just kind of hit me during one of the sessions you gave about how, no, wife needs to be second, right after God. She needs to come before the kids, and that rocked my world. Because I had it completely backwards, and I was convinced. I almost didn't agree with you for a while, but started.
So sorry to hear that. Your naivety. No, I'm just kidding.
But after further reflection and just reading about it more and just realizing, oh no, I had this way wrong. So I just wanted to talk about what that hierarchy looks like for guys and live in that bubble that I'm in right now, and just where our wives need to be on that, and how we can live that out.
Well, I think that's kind of the problem with marriage in general. We've got this society, and we have this message being pushed through the media that your wife is your partner. And when you hear a phrase that your wife is your partner, to me, that is a contractual statement, which means you are under legal contract to be with this person, right? If I have a business partner, I have a contract, and a contract basically is a firewall, right? It protects me against you, it protects you against me, and really, we have turned a lot of our relationships with women that we love into partnerships, into contractual agreements. And we see this through cohabitation, which I think is the dumbest thing a Christian can ever do, any person could ever do. I just think it's statistically a bad idea. It statistically leads to higher levels of divorce. There's so many reasons behind it. But more than that, the message that's coming at people saying that she's your partner is coming from people groups that want to diminish and undermine the nuclear family. The Judeo-Christian nuclear family is God first, marriage second, children third, and then extended family, right? And so what I love about the marriage, the way God designed it, is that it's a covenant. So it's my wife and I saying, okay, we realized we had to go to the county clerk house and get a contract 33 years ago now, but we're also under a covenant, which means you're not my partner, you're my person. And I actually, I'm leading a movement where I'm wanting guys to stop calling their wives and start calling them their brides. And so I call my wife bride because it reminds me of that day when she made a covenant with me to be my person. And so, okay, so with you and Shelby then, what did Shelby think about this idea, this paradigm that she's second behind the kids? Well, put her third, God, kids, Shelby. What did she think about that hierarchy?
Ironically, she was in the same mindset. Okay. And what's funny is that neither of us had really talked about that with each other. It wasn't until after both of us had separately come to realization that, no, our spouse, bride, groom, need to be before our kids, because she had the same kind of mentality, if you will. And it wasn't until after we both discovered that separately that we just happened to cross paths with that and realize, oh, wait, you thought that too? Because I was thinking that too, but I just learned, oh no, that's not how it should be, and I'm changing up how I'm acting. And I never talked to her about it. Something I just never came up, and I just started to try and implement how I was a husband to her to better reflect that. And I tried to act on that and put her before them. And I just tried to do it to see, like, okay, I'm just gonna shift gears here, and hopefully that'll improve things. Maybe she'll notice. And then she did start noticing, and then that's what opened up the conversation, and we both came to the realization, oh wait, you thought this too, but then we both had a 180, and now we're on this track together where she's working on putting me before the kids, and I'm working on putting her before the kids. So that was just kind of a weird God moment of how it happened, because we had no idea that that's what the other was thinking too.
When you said you're working on putting her in front of the kids and working on her putting you in front of the kids.
Yeah.
What is, in the jungle, in the family jungle, what does that look like? What does it look like when the kids are more important than the spouse?
I mean, for me, what I was doing before is I wouldn't say neglect my time with her, but I would just focus on being more of a parent and parenting on my own and making sure that I was being the disciplinarian, being the father figure that they needed, and teaching them things, the things that they should be doing that are good in God's eyes, and not focusing on working with her in our relationship together with God and growing that together. Because I was focused on making sure that my kids grew up to know God and knew about Him and what He had done for us. And I just didn't focus on helping her grow spiritually.
That's so interesting, because you essentially end up, when you put the kids first, you turn a person or a covenant into a partnership. Yeah. You by default, when you put your kids ahead of your wife, you turn it into a partnership, which is what I heard you saying just now. Isn't that really interesting? So what do you think if you would have continued down that road, what do you think would have happened to the kids? What's the long-term repercussions when a marriage is second to the children?
I think long-term it would affect their future marriages, because
for sure.
They would have a very different model of what a marriage looks like, a very skewed model of what a marriage looks like if I'd kept that trajectory. But now focusing more on her and making sure they see that I'm focused on her, making sure that they know, hey, Mama comes first before you guys. She will always come first for me. And even if that's telling them that, showing them, like giving physical affection towards her, verbally loving on her, physically loving on her, just letting them see that healthy, godly marriage could hugely impact their marriages in the future, because they have that base model to.
Well, you know what's really interesting too, Matt, is that when you put the kids ahead of the marriage, it doesn't create a safe and secure place for the kids. It creates an insecure place because now everything revolves around them, and they're jacked up little sinners. They don't know it at the time, probably, but they're little manipulative sinners. And if the marriage comes second to them, then you're not a united front as a couple.
Yeah.
And if you're not a united front as a couple, then the world revolves around them. And if the world revolves around them, you end up creating these entitled children, which ironically, we live in a world where 40% of children are born out of wedlock, right? And of the remaining 60%, another 50% of them will get divorced, won't live with their dad through age 18. So you got 30 out of 100 potential kids living with a nuclear family, right?
Yeah.
And if that family revolves around the children, these good parents in a nuclear family end up raising entitled children, spoiled brats, which we're seeing that.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
We're seeing that nowadays. I mean, I remember when you were in high school, my kids had friends that had better cars than my wife and I.
Yeah.
These are high school kids without jobs.
Yeah.
And what happens is it ruins, and actually it's funny, not funny, tragic, those same kids are pretty jacked up today.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were never told, they never learned a hierarchy, as you said, and they never learned that life doesn't revolve around them. So when they got out in the real world, guess what happens?
They learned the world didn't care about them.
Yeah, give me your participation trophy back.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. So now that you've kind of you've remastered your hierarchy, how is the relationship with you and Shelby? How's that marriage? How's the marriage? 12 years in. So you're in, baby.
Oh, yeah.
4 kids and 12 years in. You're in the stress bubble. You're in this bad boy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and actually you and Shelby go back, I don't know if you met in small group, but you guys were in my Bible study
We did
all those
meet
years
here.
ago.
She remembers it very well. I don't. And she doesn't let me ever forget that.
That's so
I did
funny
meet her
because-
down in the gym down there once, but I do not remember it.
Well, she was in my Bible study at my house.
Yeah.
You were already out of high school, I think.
I think so. Or no, she would have been out of high school before me.
Okay.
But I don't think I was ever in. I was in the Bible school once.
She graduated. So how secure is she in the relationship with you now that you guys have both flipped the script on your paradigm of wife greater than kids?
Yeah.
Have you seen an impact on her life?
I have, yeah. And she's told me as much too. The last, I want to say it's probably been about 2 years where we've really had that tonal shift. And it's made a big difference. I mean, we've always had a pretty good relationship, strong marriage leading up to having our first kids. And then that's when it seemed like the priorities needed to shift around. But of course, we didn't know that at the time that we needed to be even stronger after they came along. But no, in the last couple of years, it has made a big difference. We've grown far stronger in our spiritual relationship than we were kind of on our own before. We've managed to find a church that we're really, really happy with at Northwest Christian. Little shout out to them. And we've just managed to form connections with people that have the same belief system and value system that we have, and just created really strong friendships for that. That's been something I've been really excited to see, is that she's formed some really strong friendships in the last couple of years, and just unlike any friendships that I've ever seen her have before. Just incredibly strong, faith-based, and just really powerful to see. And that's had a huge, just positive change in her life too, and something I can see every day, and it makes me unbelievably proud.
So when you guys were looking for a church, were you looking for a church for you guys to grow spiritually? Were you looking for a church for the family to grow spiritually? I mean, what brought you to the place where you are right now? What was the motivation?
It was for all of us. We wanted to grow together, obviously, but we wanted a place that could help nurture our kids' relationship as well. I mean, obviously, 90% of that falls on us, and then there's that 10% on Sunday school days where they get to spend that time learning about God. And that was the really big thing, is that they had to have a strong kids program for us, because we wanted to make sure that not only we're growing, but that they're growing as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And that we can build off of what we learn spending our time in that church, and pass that on to them.
So have your kids in the last 2 years, have you seen a change in your kids?
Oh, yeah.
Because of, not because of the church, but because of your paradigm shift?
Yeah.
So now you're putting each other ahead of the kids. How have you seen your kids change?
I've just seen them be more considerate towards each other and more loving towards each other. My two oldest have always been really close with each other. And so their relationship has gotten stronger, I think, because of just seeing the love that Shelby and I have for each other, and that we show that love. And the fact that we always struggled praying together, which is one of those things that a lot of Christian couples just for some reason just struggle with, even though we're married, it's the easiest thing that we should be able to do. But for some reason, you talk to most Christian couples, with all of our Christian couple friends, same thing. They all acknowledge that it's just super awkward for some reason. Nobody can explain why, because we're married, we have kids. We've had those moments, and then having just simple prayer is more awkward than anything we could do together. So that's something that we've started shifting and doing way more prominently in our day-to-day life, and making sure that our kids are a part of that. We pray together on a regular basis as well, but then also making sure we pray with them regularly. And then they've started to pray on their own. On our way to man camp, my two daughters got down at our coffee table and started praying.
I saw the picture. That's so awesome.
My 2-year-old led it. She just sat down, kneeled down at the coffee table and started praying. And
that's so awesome.
It was one of the proudest moments I've ever had as a father.
That's really, it's really interesting to see how our kids will kind of flow into that hierarchy of God, right? You know, one of the things that's really alarming to me is we have so many people coming into a second marriage.
Yeah.
And the hard part with a second marriage is you've already got a mother of your children living somewhere else.
Yeah.
And now you've got a woman that you've married, step-parenting your children. But the problem with divorce, and I think this might be why in Malachi 2:16, God says, I hate divorce. There's a breach of covenant, right?
Yeah.
And then that second marriage, there's a temptation to make it a partnership. What I hear guys say, I hear this all the time. Well, I just told my new wife that my kids come first. Well, the reason that a guy is compelled to say that is because he's already failed loving the first one.
Yeah.
And now there's tremendous insecurity around dad and the relationship with dad. So dad has to go swing the pendulum the whole other way over to coerce the children to believe that they actually are vitally important.
Right.
And what happens is now the second wife is insecure because she realized that when she got married, but now she's in a partnership because he's put the kids first. Yeah. And that is why divorce is such an evil thing. It just flips the script on everything.
Yeah.
And the hard part is now, this is the hard part, because this new wife that you brought in, she's not going to be able to discipline the kids the way a real mother could because she's a stepmother.
Right.
But now dad has to bring this new woman in who's only been around for a year, brand new in the picture, and he has to love her more than them.
Yeah.
And that's traumatic. And so, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
But I think it's easier for you to make that shift than a second marriage guy. But they have to make that shift.
Yeah.
Because they say second marriages, third marriages are easier to end. And I think that's why, right? Because you put your second marriage in a real awkward position, because now you've got children to deal with.
Yeah.
If you don't have children, it's not the same.
Right.
You throw children in the mix,
you're dancing on a razor blade there.
You are sliding down a razor blade, baby, without any pantalones. So, but yeah, it's really dangerous. Now, well, I'm glad that you kind of made that shift. I think that's a game changer. I had my son, recent about 4 years ago, said, "Hey, Dad, if me or Mom," and somebody said, "You're gonna one of them's got to get a bullet," and I said, "Man, I love you, son. Like, I love you so much."
Yeah.
And I kind of got weepy, and I said, "But I have to choose your mom, man." Yeah, I knew you'd say that.
Yeah.
But there's a peace in them knowing. Like, there's a peace in them knowing that the world doesn't revolve around them. There's a peace in them knowing that marriage, the family, flows out of Jesus and into the marriage and through to the kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing that, as I'm processing this with you, is that, when we look at Ephesians chapter 5 and Colossians chapter 3 through 4:1, I think, we see these household codes. God has created the marriage to be the closest example of our relationship with him.
Yeah.
And so we have to model that in priority. Otherwise, things unravel.
Yeah. Real quick.
Man, that's awesome. Well, hey, man, you're crushing it. Proud of you, dude. I mean, it's really cool to see. I don't know. It's just cool to see a 15, 16, 17-year-old boy becoming a 34-year-old man. And I'm actually impressed. Like, I don't know if I would have thought you'd be where you are, but you are. You're crushing it. So, man, I would just say keep doing what you're doing. And the thing that makes you crush it is you listen to the word and you do what it says. And and you're teachable. The 34-year-old man married 12 years or 10 years at the time to turn your paradigm and flip the script. I mean, that's not easy.
No, it was a big shift, and it took some time. But I mean, there's been a big difference.
Yeah, man. Well, good job, buddy. Appreciate you.
Well, I had some help.
There's always help. We all need help, right?
Amen.
We need to reach up to somebody who's a mentor, and we need to reach down to somebody who needs us. And so we all need to have that. So I have that. You have that. We all need that. So thanks for coming on, buddy.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Hey, man, I hope you enjoyed today's Average Joe conversation where we interview guys that are way beyond average, but they are local. So hopefully you enjoyed today's episode and that you have found a way to keep or realign your marriage hierarchy: God, wife, kids. Remember, guys, your wife is greater than your kids. And if you don't agree with me, talk to God, because it's in the Word. Hey, until next time, feel the wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty. Grind it out. Make your bride first, and be a man.